Montrose Harbour is a busy port, offering port facilities for offshore oil, gas and the busy offshore renewables sector, with Seagreen wind farms setting up their base at the harbour. The Tyne Class Lifeboats have a distinctive sound of the twin Detroit diesel two-stroke engines, much loved by lifeboat enthusiasts. The Tyne Class Lifeboats were in service with the RNLI usually as slipway-launched lifeboats, and are a firm favourite with many former RNLI coxswains and crews, being very capable boats in any sea conditions. The Harbour Port Authority bought two ex-RNLI Tyne Class Lifeboats for use as pilot cutters, assisting vessels in and out of the port. One of the pilot cutters from Montrose, North Esk, has been sold to Stornoway, and has been replaced with South Esk, a purpose-built vessel from Safehaven Marine in Ireland. Due to the age of the Tyne Class lifeboats now, it is becoming difficult to source spare parts to keep the pilot cutters in service. Some 6 years ago, Montrose Harbour bought an old Tyne Class that had suffered hull damage while on shore and therefore was a good candidate for spare machinery and parts to extend the life of their two Tyne Class pilot cutters. Recently it was decided that the Prince George, as she had been renamed, was to be disposed of in an environmentally friendly way to free up much needed quay space. The lifeboat is responsible for helping to keep a number of other Tyne Class lifeboats supplied with some difficult-to-find spare parts, helping extend their usable life for quite some time. Transporting the Prince George from Montrose, approximately 80 miles to Thornhill west of Stirling, was quite an undertaking, requiring a specialist boat transport company and a heavy lift crane at each location suitable for the task. Due to the size of the vessel and transporter, the traffic police decided that it was best to leave Montrose early evening to miss most of the heavy traffic en route. The convoy arrived at Thornhill village late evening, and with Martin, having notified the locals of the wide load coming through the village, they had parked their cars though fully, to avoid obstruction. The transporter had parked up overnight at Wigwam campsite to await the other heavy lift crane arrival early morning. Having maneuvered the crane and boat transporter close to the prepared base, the preparations began for the lift. When the lifeboat was lifted into position, it was then lifted out to allow Martin to excavate trenches below for removal and later fitting of the lifting strops if required. Some local school children came along to see the lifeboat in place and were given some RNLI Lifeboat souvenirs by David and Margaret Buchan. David then told them about the lifeboats and their vital sea safety role at sea. It may be some time before the Prince George lifeboat is converted to glamping accommodation, but if the interior of the Sea King helicopter is an indication of the high standard of layout expected, it will be well worth the wait. Both David and Margaret Buchan wish Martin and Louise every success with the lifeboat conversion, no doubt a safe haven to stir memories for many RNLI staff and seafarers.